Hello, welcome back. We're going to talk about bonds and just do a bit of review and look at how they work. All right, so again, a bond, again, it's something that trades, so the market price can vary. And it's related to the market rate of interest rates. Okay, so your bond will have a term to maturity. Okay, so the years to maturity. It's going to have a coupon rate. So this is the fixed percentage based on fair value. Or sorry, face value. Which for bonds is $1,000. So if you had a 5% coupon, you'd get $50 per year. Okay. And then we'll say, if the bond matures in 10 years, it's a 10-year bond from today's price, right? So this is our N, this is our payment. This is our face value or future value, and we enter this in a calculator. Present value is the price today of the bond. Okay. And IY is our yield to maturity. So in other words, we buy the bond today, we hold it to maturity. This is the annual yield that we'll earn on this bond. There's a few assumptions around yield to maturity that make it a little less clear, I guess. You have to reinvest the coupons at that interest rate, but for our purposes, we're not going to worry about that. So essentially, then our yield is what return, if we held the bond to maturity, are we going to earn? Okay. And so again, a bond is, you buy, it's a series of cash flows, so you get your coupon payment. So you get these small dollar amounts. Generally, they're semi-annually, but we'll just, for our purposes, treat them as annually. It's a little simpler, and it's the same process, just adjusting periods. Okay, so you get these coupon payments, and then at maturity, you get your last coupon plus your face value, right? So your $1,000 plus the last coupon payment. Okay, so these coupons are you're just getting regular interest. You're receiving that each period, say at the end of each year. And then at the end of 10 years, in our example, when the bond matures, you're going to get your $1,000 plus your coupon of 5%. So $50, $1,050. Right, so you're getting a series of these cash flows of 50. And then at year 10, you're going to get 1,050. Okay. All right, so to find the yield of maturity, so we've worked with periodic payments, cash flows, annuities. So this is the coupons and annuity payment, and at the end of all this, we're going to get this present value of this face value at maturity. Okay, just remember again, interest rates. So if this is the price of the bond, these are market rates. So the market rate has nothing to do with the coupon rate. The coupon rate is fixed when the bond's issued. It's printed right on the bond. It's fixed. It's set. Okay, so again, there's this inverse relationship between market interest rates and the price of a bond. So the price of the bond will fluctuate with market interest rates. You hold it to maturity, well, you're going to get that original yield. But if you sell the bond before then, it's going to be sensitive to changes in market interest rates. Okay, so interest rates go up in the market relative to the bond that you currently own. You'll expect the price to go down. So there's that inverse relationship with bonds. Okay. So just something to keep in mind. Maybe you remember that from your economics days, but that's the inverse relationship. Okay, so how do we figure out the calculating the yield on a bond. So generally you're going to be finding the yield. The price is usually going to be provided to you. So we'll say here we have a bond. So bonds are corporate or government bonds. The government's the biggest issuer of debt securities in globally, and corporate issues are then quite a bit lower than that. All right, so the bond market trades in the over-the-counter market. Bonds are exchanged. You can sell your bond at the current market price. You can buy a bond from another investor at the current market price. Okay. So again, let's just look at what we have. So N is our number of years to maturity. So when is the bond going to mature? So when do we get our face value and our last interest payment? So we'll just make an example here. We'll say this is 12 years. And we'll say our coupon rate. So this is our payment. We'll say that's 6%. Okay, and again, face value, it's always going to be 1,000. That's the assumption. And bonds are quoted in hundreds, but when you're doing the calculations, you can use 1,000. So that's, even though they're quoted in hundreds of $100 amounts, you just multiply it by 10. So just think, we're going to get $1,000 face value, future value. It's always going to be 1,000. Present value is the market price today. And IY is your yield to maturity. So this is your annual yield on the bond if you hold it to maturity. Okay. All right, so let's make up let's say we know the price of the bond. Let's say it's $989 today. Okay, so we know the term to maturity, and we know the coupon rate is 6%, and we know the face value is 1,000. That's always assumed, and that's what it it generally might tell you that, but if it doesn't, it's always going to be 1,000. Price today, $989. And so we want to find out what the yield to maturity is on this particular bond. Okay, so we can use our calculator to do this. We're going to use our time value of money key. So clear your time value. Okay, so we know N is 12, so I'm going to put 12 in for N. Okay, I don't know what my yield is. I don't know what my yield is, right? That's my IY. Next is my price today, present value. That's $989. And this is important. Make sure you put the negative in here. You're buying the bond. It's an outflow. If you don't put the negative there, you'll get that dreaded error 5 message. So make sure you have a negative there. If you get an error, that might likely be the problem you have there. So make sure you have a negative in front of the present value, the purchase price of the bond. All right. And payment, so that's our coupon. So remember that's 6% times the 1,000, so $60 is our coupon payment. Okay, so I make sure I got that present value, and then 60 is my coupon payment. All right. 1,000 is my future value, face value. And now I'm ready to compute my yield to maturity. So I go compute IY, and I get a yield to maturity of 6.132%. All right. So in other words, if I buy this bond today, I hold it for 10 years, 12 years in our example here. At the end of that time, I'll have earned a yield to maturity of 6.132%. Okay, and there's an approximation formula in the book, and it's reasonably close, but this is more precise, of course. You'll get, with the calculator, you'll get the actual number. All right, so now we have a yield to maturity. The other thing you might be looking at the price. You're always going to be given, well, not always, but you're generally going to be given yield to mature or number of years to maturity, coupon rate, and the face value is 1,000. And so the only typical variables are the present value, the price today, or the yield to maturity. So you have to be given one of those two items to find the other one, of course. So, but generally, in the textbook, I guess you can find, if you got any four, you can find the fifth one. But typically, that's what you're looking for. All right, so we'll look at another example here with a bond, just finding the price of a bond. But another thing you'll see in the book is the current yield. So don't mix that up with yield to maturity. Current yield is just your current coupon over your price today. So this current yield can vary every day. Yield to maturity is fixed to the maturity of the bond. Let's look at our example here. So we have a $60 coupon. The bond is selling today at $989. And so we can figure out our current yield, such as 60. There we go. 60 divided by 989. 60 divided by 989. And we get a current yield of 6.1%. Okay, so because this bond is trading pretty close to par value, so if it was selling for 1,000 today, if the price was 1,000, it would be selling at par. Selling below par, it's selling at a discount or trading at a discount. Above par, it's trading at a premium, right? So that, again, those prices can fluctuate daily. They typically don't move a great deal. If market interest rates change, then bond prices will change. But day to day, if rates are stable, they don't change a great deal. So that's just the current yield. So, that'll change every day when the price of the bond changes. The coupon is fixed, right? So this amount doesn't change, but this market price daily can vary, although it won't be significant. All right, the other thing, we'll just look at another example here. So let's just say we want to find the price of a bond. So here we're given N, so we're given a 20-year bond. All right, and we're given a coupon of 4%. And we're given the price of 1,020, and we know face value is 1,000. And here we're looking for yield to maturity, so we're looking for IY. Okay, so the N is our years, coupon is our payment, price is our present value, and face value, just think future value, and IY is what we're trying to solve for. Okay, so you'll note that this particular bond is trading at a premium. It's selling above par value, so of course, if the bond's trading at par value, then the yield to maturity is the same as the coupon rate, right? So that's another thing to keep in mind. So this case, we have a bond selling at a premium, right? So we'd expect the actual interest rate on the yield to maturity to be lower than the 4%. All right, so let's bring up our calculator and let's find out what our annual yield to maturity is if we hold the bond till it matures. Okay, so I'm just going to, again, clear my time value. All right, so N is 20 years, so I have a 20-year bond. And IY is what we're trying to find. My present value, my price today is 1,020. And don't forget that negative sign in front. Okay, so that's my price. Coupon is 4%, so that's times 1,000 equals $40. So we're talking about an annual coupon bond. Again, in practice, they're probably semi-annual, but for our purposes, this will work fine. All right, so 40 is our payment, so we're going to get a $40 payment every year. So enter that. And we know face value is 1,000, future value, face value, try that again. Face value, think future value. And now we're ready to compute our IY. Okay. And we get a yield to maturity of 3.85%. Okay. And I can, usually decimals, you want to go to 4 places, but we'll 3.8547. So whatever, if you want to go to 3.85855, that would work too. So this is in percent, of course. That's our yield to maturity. We'll buy this bond today. We hold it for, assuming there's 20 years left to maturity, we're going to yield 3.855%. And note again, we're going to pay $1,020 today. We're only going to get $1,000 at the end, so we're paying a premium, and that's why the interest rate or the yield on this bond is lower than the coupon of 4%, $40. Okay. So again, that's just some things to be aware about with bonds. We can look at T-bills. So this is commercial paper. So this is short-term investments. So typically 365 days or less. So Treasury bills are sold at a discount. So you pay less today, and then you receive face value at maturity. Right. So the way to look at this is you get your face value minus your price today divided by the price, and you're going to multiply that by 365. Sometimes you'll see 360 with commercial paper. That if it's sometimes 360 is just the norm. There's 30 days in a month, times 12 is 360. We'll use 365 here and then divide it by the time in days, right? Okay. So again, Treasury bills are a pretty low yield. They're generally government bonds, although you could buy corporate commercial paper, and same idea. But the idea then is you're going to buy something at a discount. And we'll just use 100 because again, the quoted price is often at 100. If you want 10, look at it as a bond, multiply by 10, or however it's denominated, just multiply by the appropriate amount. Okay, we'll say the price today is $99.50, right, divided by the price today, and we'll say that this is a 90-day Treasury bill, so we're going to divide that. All right, so what have I got here? I've got 100 minus 99.50, so I have 50 cents divided by 99.50. And this will give me equivalent to an annual yield, right, on this, or annual return on this Treasury bill. All right, so let's have a look at that. So we got 50 cents. All right, so we're going to pay 99. We're going to pay $99.50, and in 90 days we're going to get 100. So 50 cents is the discount there. Divide that by 99.50, and then multiply that by 365, and divide that by 90. Okay, and you're seeing here a return of about 2.04%. Okay, so that would be your return on this Treasury bill. So that's Treasury bill yields right now are pretty low. So even this doesn't look like much, but if right now this would be a great deal. All right, so that gives you a bit of a flavor for bonds. Treasury bills are the short-term instruments, less than a year. Bonds are typically anything over that 1 year to 30 or 40 years. Typically, you can buy different maturities of bonds in the market depending what your investment horizon is. All right, so I hope this was helpful and a little bit more about bonds and finding that yield to maturity, the price of a bond, and then how to find the annual return on a Treasury bill. All right, so that's it for now. Hope this was helpful. Take care.